And welcome, disc golf friends, to Par Save Productions back nine coverage of the first round of the 2018 Ledgestone Insurance Open. It is a disc golf pro tour. It is presented by Discraft and is the 8th pro tour of the 2018 season. We're here on hole 10, par 3, 450 feet. This will be a new hole for the players this year. Holes 10 and 11 are both brand new, sort of playing in the same area, but in a different direction. And hole 11 will be completely new to the players. Garrett throwing a big roller here. We can see the permanent tee pads. Nate Heinold has done a great job at having permanent tee pads here in the 2018 version of the Ledgestone Insurance Open. Nate also throwing a roller, sort of lost it there in the grass. At 450 feet, this is a good roller hole. You can use the grass to slow it up near the pin, but just use all that power. Garry comes up quite short. Nikko also going with the roller. Two flipped over and is going to head just to the right of the basket. Actually turned out to be a pretty good shot. He will have a birdie putt from there. We are heading into the back nine. We can see the scores. The scores you do see are from the front nine. And we've had some fun stuff in the front nine. We'll see what we get in the back nine. So we can see Nate turned his roller over too bad. This is one of those holes where there's not too much OB. You can see Garrett's near an OB line there. And there is Garret putting it in. And I can guarantee you that was a Sonic. We'll see a little slow-mo here. Garret is awesome with this Sonic. And boom, no doubt about it. Great job, Garret. The Garret Gurthie Sonic, I'm sure, is available on an online retailer somewhere near you, considering the internet is near us all the time. Here's Nikko for his birdie putt. And you can tell Nikko's frustrated about that, as you would expect. Nate for his par save. You know, one thing about this course is that we do have a lot of OB, and it is kind of refreshing for the players when they can just throw and not worry about it. So maybe hole 10 is that for them, using that roller. Garry with his par as well. Nikko will walk over frustrated, thinking of what could have been on this hole. But we will move on to hole 11. Here we are, hole 11. The tee is actually right near where hole 10's basket used to be, shooting back along the creek up towards the main road. I think that's Main Street in Eureka. Pin looks to be tucked in some pretty tight OB here. Again, this hole's only 300 feet, but with quite a bit of OB. And if the winds were up, this might be a lot more difficult. Garret puts it in there for a birdie putt. Probably going to see mostly sidearms on this hole. It looks like it is a left to right playing hole with the hill favoring a sidearm. As you come into that hill, you sort of dig into it. You don't have to worry about a skip. Garry's doesn't look too good, and he's done what we all fear is go out of bounds right. Looks like he got his sidearm a little bit up. The whole day today, we haven't seen the wind be too much of a factor from what we can tell. And Nikko looks to have parked that hole. Garry after taking his relief. Good putt by Garry. It's always tough. Actually, we show that was a birdie. We're not sure. Maybe he was in bounds. Maybe I misspoke. Garret misses that putt there. I do apologize if I did misspoke there for Garry. If that was a birdie, good on you. Nate with that deep knee bend makes his putt. You can see Nikko's is parked. I hate to harp on Garret as much as I do, but we all want to see Garret be successful, and putting is certainly the most important thing for him. If he can make putting his friend this week, I think he'll be a factor. Let's head over to hole 12.
Some swirly vultures.
Here we are, hole 12, the famous water tower hole. It is an island hole having to go up and around the water tower, pin being located directly on the back side. We can see the Discraft banners there on the side. We've seen a lot more banners this year than we have in the past. Thank you to Discraft for their support of this event, as well as myself over the years and disc golf in general. We do want to thank all the great sponsors. Nate throws really a very nice shot. He got a little lucky there. You can actually skip off of the water tower and roll out of bounds. This is, again, one of those holes that mistakes can happen. And it looks like Gary's done that. He has thrown out of bounds. This is one of the holes the players want a birdie. They want to get away from this hole. Nikko goes wide, hits the tree. Will end up OB on this 12th hole. And he will have to throw from the drop zone, which is probably only about 150 feet up on the tee. You want to take somewhat of an aggressive line on the right side and try to skip it up just near the water tower. Gary is at the drop zone. Throwing a very nice shot. Nikko was OB. He's at the drop zone as well. It's just one of those types of holes you don't see typically on tour. It's pretty much wide open, but that water tower does affect you. You can't just throw up and hit it, because if you do, you will potentially roll out of bounds or have some quite a few issues. But Nate has put himself inside the circle and just sneaks it over the rim there for a nice birdie. Good on Nate. Again, we can see all the banners. This is Thursday, midday, guys. Not a lot of fans here yet, but come Sunday, we will see everybody gathering to watch our lead players come through here. These guys are just trying to get used to this, get comfortable, so that come Sunday they can be as aggressive as possible. Oh boy. Missed putt by Nikko. He will take a double bogey on that hole after the penalty. Nikko can get fired up. Sometimes these types of things fire him up. You can see him walking off. There's quite a long walk to the next tee. The next hole is a par 5. He's thinking, I can get that birdie on that next one. Let's head over there. And we've made it to the hole that everybody loves. The only par 5 on the course, hole 13, 1,080 feet. This hole is going to have 2 basket locations over the tournament. Again, we'll see the same basket locations on 1 and 3 and a different basket location on 2 and 4's rounds. I think we're playing the shorter one this round. The tee shot is basically just a hyzer over the water. It's just kind of get it over. Nate did not get enough on that, but he is in bounds. There's no secret OB line over there. If you're on land, you're safe. Garrett, you can see how the aggressive play is really just not even available here, because if there was, you'd see Garrett take it. He threw a nice little hyzer there. One thing that most people can't tell here is that there usually is a breeze, there usually is a headwind breeze, but it doesn't look like the wind is doing too much, because these discs are flying nice and clean, not too much air wobbles out there. Nikko throws, just sneaks it past that tree. It's all about setting yourself up for the second shot. It's quite difficult to see on this shot-by-shot coverage really the way that this hole ultimately plays. It's a hole that is impossible, not impossible, nothing's impossible, but hard to eagle, and really it's just a good solid birdie opportunity for most of these players. I have to congratulate Nate Heinold and his team. This was a hole that came in here a couple of years ago, and I really love this hole. This is an awesome par 5 that challenges players to get a birdie. Garrett going with the roller. This is the aggressive play. Again, Garrett being our aggressive player. See a little clap from the crowd there. Gary was in the perfect position off the tee, throwing a nice hyzer, putting himself in position. Water the whole right side. This is Lake Eureka. This is the part of the lake that the players throw over on the first hole. Nate playing the sidearm. Nate playing up the left side here, both the last two shots. And he's about, from my history on this hole, he's about 75 to 80 feet short of the pin. Maybe upwards of 100 over a little knoll. He will be blind on his next shot. Garry. Wow, that looked really nice, Garry. Looked like he spiked it almost into the basket. Nikko throwing the spike hyzer as well. This is the place you want to be after your second shot. Gives you a nice opportunity to throw a hyzer. Oh, we see a little roll. Looks like it did stay in bounds, though, for Nikko. He'll have a birdie putt here on the 13th hole. Garret a little bit further closer to the trees. He was completely blind to the pin, but that doesn't matter for Double G. Does a nice job, puts it in there close to the pin. Again, Nate is completely blind to the basket. And, well, we can see quickly here that he did leave it short, and he's missed his par putt. And so that's what can happen very easily on this hole. This hole is a par 5, a birdie opportunity, but if you get caught up early, you can really do some damage. There we go, Nikko. After that missed putt on the water tower hole, he slammed this one right in the middle. And you see that from Nikko quite a bit, using the frustration as a positive thing and making another putt, get himself another birdie. There you go, Garret. And actually, if we do look at the lake there, it looks quite placid, quite nice today. Probably a very nice day for these players to play disc golf. Always a nice day on the first round when you can kind of just get into it. Garry with a nice birdie. He played that hole very well. Here we are on the 14th hole, 805 feet, par 4. Do want to thank Airborne Disc Golf for their usage of the drone. Couldn't have done it without you, Kale, and all of your people up there in Minnesota and the Twin Cities. Kale is everybody's favorite, and we appreciate his help on that. This hole is Lake. Again, Lake Eureka, all on the right side. And Garret hit early. That's something that he will be now trying to make a par on this hole. You simply are just trying to get down to the bottom. If you look at that tree that Garry's disc is perfectly lined up with, if you can land down by that tree, it's about another 400-foot hyzer from there. This is really a great hole. Again, I want to congratulate the TD and the designer on this hole. This is one of the best holes on the course, I think, in my opinion. Nikko has gone OB to the left. But it is really just a very cool hole, demanding tee shot as well as a second shot. Nate takes the aggressive line down the right side. If he can swoop, he will be okay there. He might be able to go at the pin. Now, Garrett's going to make me look stupid because I said he'd be looking for a par, but he was going at the pin. And even though he hits the branches, it looks like he got over there. Again, I should have known Garret would be aggressive on this hole. Nate ended up in an okay spot, but you can see he's playing this shot safely, as Nate will do. A lot of players might look and say, wow, Nate plays a lot of safe shots. But you know what? When you see his name there towards the end of most tournaments that he plays, there's no wonder why he is as good as he is. Garry hitting a branch, ending up short. Again, hole 14 is a good opportunity for a birdie, but a demanding hole. Nikko, after going OB, going way too aggressive on his next shot and ending up in the water. This is the Ledgestone Insurance Open, folks. This is one of the hardest courses that these players will play all season long. Even though today's weather conditions seem to be favorable to them, we're still seeing some issues from the players here today. And Nikko will not be happy coming off of this hole. I do want to mention that if you see the hole scores after each hole, you'll see Garrett's smiling face. I'm sure that was after the 10th hole throw in. And it does look like that was his Sonic that he did throw on that hole. just tapping out here. We now have 4 holes left in the round, 15, 16, 17, 18. Heading back now the other direction, heading towards the home finish, the home stretch. These players will be looking to be aggressive on these last 4 and try to pick up a few birdies coming in to put themselves in position for round 2. Here we are, hole 15, par 3, 315 feet. Plays over a little kind of a low area. It is an uphill hole, but not as uphill as it seems from the bottom of the middle part of the fairway. Sort of a unique hole here because it's completely blocked out. You can't see the basket. And I will say that those walls right there are new to this year. In fact, Garrett would have went quite a long way out of bounds last year. But the Pro Tour has come in and put that wall there and given the players a little bit of a helping hand there. I'm not sure why they did that, but Garry throwing the more traditional shot, putting himself just outside the circle. But with that wall there, the players can be a little bit more aggressive and not worrying about going OB. That wall is the OB line. Nate throwing a sidearm, putting himself inside the circle. This is the 8th Disc Golf Pro Tour of the year. We are heading towards the World Championships in Vermont. Typically, we would have already played the World Championships by this time, but we have a later Worlds this year in September, and these players are just trying to get ready for the biggest tournament of the year, the World Championship. Garry missing his putt. That's a tough putt from there. I had that putt many times last year and didn't make a single one. But here we go. Garrett puts it up there and just stays in the basket, hitting high right. Garry might be thinking, well, why didn't mine stay in back on the 9th hole? But, that's the game we play. It's not always so fair. Nate missing that putt. He'll be frustrated about that. Ooh. Well, Garry, hole 9 and hole 15, they can basically even themselves out. That was a little bit of a lucky putt there. These are just routine par putts for these guys. We'll head to the 16th hole, which we'll see what the guys can do. Here we are, hole 16, a par 4, 606 feet. Saw this hole two'd a couple of times last year, or at least once that I know of. A roller is the key shot here. If you can navigate a roller, you can get up there to the pin for an easy upshot and possibly an easy birdie. But there is OB all the way on the left side. The bushes on the right side are really, really thick. If you get into them, you can kind of put yourself in a bad position. But the aggressive roller line is the line we're going to see all the players who are in contention take. Garrett going a little bit too far to the right, going into those bushes, and it's just a matter of time before we see how it turned out for him. Garry taking them sort of the safer shot. I think that's a smart shot for him, putting it right there in the middle. That was perfect by Garry. Nice shot, Garry. Nate taking the sidearm. I'm surprised to see this. We might see him take the roller later in the tournament, but early on, I think he might just be playing it safe. Nate's a phenomenal roller player, but maybe it just works out better for him to throw a sidearm. Nikko with the roller. Cut. If it cuts, nope. Too far to the right into the bushes. And you can see how tough his stance was. Nice shot by Nikko, putting himself just inside circle 2. This is a tough downhill putt. Tree there to the right, but it does drop off severely after. If this sits, which it did, Garry's showing us that you don't need to throw the roller here. See what Nate can do. I do want to take this moment and thank the guys from Parsafe Productions for their hard work in this round. Craig and his team, they're new to the scene, but we're glad to have them out there covering disc golf and covering our great players. And I am Nate Dawson. I'm happy to be here chatting with you and guiding you through this back nine. Long putt for Nikko. And we can see that downhill slope has taken him away from the pin. He'll have an uphill putt, probably about 20, 25 feet. Garry for birdie. Yeah, there you go, Garry. Garry would be excited to play in this group. He is more of a regional type pro, playing with 3 touring professionals and major champions, and he has actually done very well. I'd like to congratulate Garry on a pleasurable round. Nikko making that par putt. Still see his energy is a little bit low. He's probably frustrated being even par, and the guys in his group are 6 or 7 under. But he needs to know that there's a long way to go in this tournament, and anything can happen. There you go, Garret. Garret is now on a little bit of a roll. Here we are, hole 17, par 3, 300 feet over the water the entire way. This is an island hole. You can see that pathway right behind the pin. That is OB. It's only about 40 feet there to land. Come on. Typically the wind is a factor here. Garrett's just seems to be flying quite nicely, and well, it did just that. It finished right under the pin. Nice shot by Garret. Garry coming off the birdie on the last. You can see he's got a little bit too much stability and not enough length, and he'll be OB. He'll head to the drop zone. It's a drop zone of about 60 feet. Nate throwing the sidearm. I saw this shot from these guys last year a lot while playing with them, and the sidearm is good. So good that Nikko's going to decide to take the sidearm route. And this will be good for Nikko if he can put this on the green and get a birdie here. Give him a little boost heading into the 18th. Nice shot. Here's that 60-footer I was mentioning. It is an automatic go to the drop zone no matter where you land if you're not in bounds. Garry putting it on land. There we go. Crowd likes it. Nate likes it. That'll move him to 6 under par for the round. Garry lining up his bogey putt. Oh, well, Garry, that's okay. You got 3 rounds left. Don't worry about it. Double G. Double G's really been the leader in this group today. He's made quite a few shots. He hit the basket. Well, he hit the sponsor sign on the 6th hole, the 5th hole. And he's really been the leader in the group. Let's head to 18, see how the guys finish up. Here we are, the 18th hole, par 4, 711 feet. One of the more difficult par 4s on the course, and I guarantee the players will be hoping that they're walking up this fairway 3 days from now with a 2-stroke lead. There's anything that can happen. The green is very, very difficult. A lot of OB near it, sloping away to the lake. We're going to see quite a few different shots off the tee here. Garrett's got the arm to just rip one up there and get pretty far. We're going to see sidearms, rollers, just regular air shots on this hole, which makes this hole as good as it is because we do have that variety. Nate cutting it a little bit low. See if he misses the... Oh, Well, he missed the cement, but he hit the tree. He's going to want to, in the future rounds, kind of end up a little bit to the right of that. That is your guide, that metal or that cement structure there. Nikko keeping it low, hitting the same tree, looking like he still stayed in bounds. Garry going with the air shot. Garry's got a good whip on him. Got it out there. Oh, almost hit our cameraman there. Good job to stay out of the way. You can see the second shot into the pin is there's just nothing for sure about it. There's a lot of trees in the way, water on the left, OB on the right. Nate going through the metal. Wow. Nice shot by Nate there. That is a bonus stroke right there. I guarantee it. From this angle, it is wide open. You can see Nikko doing the same thing here, leaving it a little bit left, but it is wide open. The more right you are off the tee, the more trees are in the way. You can see a perfect example of how tough it is from that right side. Garret throwing the slinging sidearm down there. Nice job by Garret. Oh, wonderful job by Garret. He will be happy with that, finishing with a birdie and a great round. I do want to take this opportunity to thank all of you disc golf excited people, you enthusiasts, for following along the back nine of the first round of the 2018 Ledgestone Insurance Open. Nikko having nothing there. We do appreciate you watching, and hopefully you did enjoy. I'm Nate Doss. This was a Parsave production, and this was the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft. I want to thank the players. They did a great job today. And let's see if Garry can finish on a high note. You can see the breeze is stiffening here, and you can see it kind of pushing into Nate's face. It looks like it is a headwind for this putt, but it's in there. Nate having a nice round, sort of playing his normal way. Had one hiccup on the par 5, but I think Nate's game looks tight. I think he will be a factor. Garret Gurthie certainly looks like he will be a factor in the tournament. Nikko, he has some work to do, but you know, it's a 4-round tournament on a very difficult course, and anything's possible. So we'll see what he has for us tomorrow. Again, this was the back nine of the first round of the 2018 Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.